I used to tell people my pixie cut made me feel free, and half the time I was lying to their face. Some mornings I'd catch myself in the mirror wondering why a cut that's supposed to take 10 minutes was taking 25, and why I still walked out the door feeling like something was off. If you've got a pixie right now, or you're thinking about getting one, there are 7 specific mistakes that quietly wreck this cut on women over 60. And almost nobody talks about them the way I'm about to. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50, so you get real results fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1: Cutting it too close to the scalp. Here's something most stylists won't say out loud. The shorter you go, the less forgiving a pixie becomes, and past 60 that forgiveness is exactly what you need. It's not about vanity. Skin tone shifts as we age. It gets a touch more translucent, a little less pink. And when a pixie is buzzed too tight at the sides and back, the scalp shows through in a way that reads as thin rather than sleek. You've probably felt this without naming it. You leave the salon loving the shape in the mirror under those flattering lights. And then 2 days later, in your bathroom at home under a plain bulb, something about it looks harsher than you expected. That's the moment of recognition. Not that the cut is bad, but that it was cut for a 25-year-old scalp coverage, not yours. The fix is simpler than most women expect, and it costs you nothing extra at your next appointment. You just have to ask for it specifically. Tell your stylist to leave a ½ inch of length at the crown and sides rather than buzzing everything down to the same close number. This does 2 things at once. First, it gives your natural hair color. Whether that's silver, salt and pepper, or a soft dyed shade. Enough surface area to actually red as color instead of scalp. Second, it lets the hair at the crown sit up with a little more lift, which visually adds density even though you haven't added a single strand. Ask specifically for a graduated pixie, rather than a cropped pixie. That one word change in the consultation chair makes the biggest difference of anything in this list. Here's the part that actually changes how people see you. When there's a little more length left at the crown, the cut stops reading as practical, and starts reading as chosen. That's the real shift. A too short pixie whispers, "This was easier for me to maintain." A graduated pixie says, "This is exactly the shape I wanted." People register that difference in about 2 seconds, even if they couldn't explain why. Friends who haven't seen you in a while will comment that you look rested, or that something about you seems brighter. And it's not lighting. It's the ½ inch of length doing quiet, structural work. There's a texture piece to this too that most women skip. Once you've got that extra length at the crown, ask your stylist for a light texturizing at the very tips only, not throughout, just the ends, so the hair has movement instead of sitting flat like a helmet. This is the difference between a pixie that looks styled and one that looks like it just happened to you that morning. It takes an extra 2 minutes in the chair, and it's the kind of detail a good stylist will do without you even asking, but a rushed one will skip unless you specifically request it. So here's the specific swap. Before, a pixie buzzed close and even all over, scalp visible at the crown and sides. After, a graduated pixie with a ½ inch of length at the crown and sides, lightly texturized at the tips only. Same cut, same maintenance level, completely different impression. And this next one is the mistake I see stylists make even more often than the first, because it has nothing to do with length, and everything to do with a chart most salons don't even keep on the wall anymore. Part 2: Ignoring your face shape and skipping trims. 2 mistakes live in this part, and they're connected in a way you might not expect. The wrong pixie shape for your face, and letting that wrong shape grow out unchecked until it's actively working against you every single day. Let's start with the shape question, because this is the one that gets guessed at instead of measured. Most women choose a pixie based on a photo they liked on someone else, a celebrity, an influencer, a friend at the gym, without anyone in the chair actually looking at their bone structure. And past 60, bone structure has shifted a little. Cheekbones sit slightly differently, jawlines have softened, and a pixie that would have suited you at 45 can suddenly emphasize exactly the areas you'd rather soften. The fix for this one is a 5-minute conversation you can have before a single cut happens. If your face has softened into a rounder shape, you want height at the crown and shorter sides. That vertical lift elongates things instantly. If your face is longer or more angular, you want the opposite. A bit more width and fullness at the sides, less height on top so the eye reads horizontal balance instead of more length. This isn't complicated, but it requires someone to actually look at you instead of just replicating whatever photo you brought in. Bring 3 photos instead of 1, and ask your stylist which elements from each would genuinely suit your current face, not the face in the picture. Now here's where the second mistake sneaks in, and it undoes even a perfectly shaped pixie: skipping trims. A pixie is not a cut you can let ride for 3 months the way you could with longer hair. Because there's so little length to begin with, even a 1/4 inch of growth changes the entire silhouette. The crown loses its lift, the sides start creeping over the ears, and the whole shape softens into something shapeless rather than sculpted. Women tell me they didn't realize how much their pixie had grown out until they saw an old photo, and were genuinely startled by the difference. That's the real cost of stretching appointments too far apart. It happens so gradually you stop noticing it in the mirror day to day. The fix is a 4 to 5 week trim schedule, non-negotiable, even if it feels excessive compared to what you're used to. Mark it on your calendar the same day you leave the salon, so you're not relying on memory. And ask your stylist for a shape maintenance trim rather than a full restyle each time. This keeps the appointment quick and inexpensive while protecting the exact silhouette that suited your face in the first place. Most salons will do this in 15 minutes for a fraction of the full cut price. And it's the single habit that keeps a pixie looking intentional every single week instead of just the first one. So here's the swap for this part. Before, a rounded pixie shape mismatched to a softened jawline, grown out past its 4-week mark with the crown lift long gone. After, a crown height pixie matched to your actual current face shape, kept crisp on a strict 4 to 5 week trim schedule. Small calendar habit, completely different silhouette. Up next is the mistake that has nothing to do with the cut itself. It's what happens after you leave the salon and open your product cabinet. Part 3. The product mistake that flattens everything. This one surprised me the first time a stylist explained it, because it had nothing to do with buying the wrong bottle. It was about using the right product in completely the wrong amount. Women over 60 with pixie cuts tend to fall into one of 2 camps. Either they use way too much product, weighing the whole style down until it sits flat against the scalp like a swim cap, or they skip product entirely because they're worried about that exact outcome, and end up with hair that won't hold any shape at all by noon. Both mistakes come from the same place. Nobody ever showed you what the right amount actually looks like in your palm. Here's the actual answer, and it's smaller than you think. A dime-sized amount of a lightweight texturizing paste, not a cream, not a heavy pomade. Cream-based products are designed for longer hair where weight isn't an issue. On a pixie, that same cream collapses the shape within an hour. A texturizing paste, by contrast, adds grip and separation without adding weight, which means the crown lift you fought for in the cut actually survives the whole day instead of disappearing by lunchtime. Rub it between your palms until it's nearly invisible. Then work it only into the top third of your hair, crown and fringe, never down at the roots near the scalp, where it'll flatten things instead of lifting them. There's a second layer to this that most women never hear about. How you apply it matters as much as how much you use. Applying product to completely dry hair means it just sits on the surface, which is why so many women feel like their pixie won't hold, no matter what they buy. The trick is applying it to hair that's roughly 80% dry, still slightly damp, not soaking, not bone dry. At that stage, the product actually integrates into the hair shaft instead of coating over it, which is the difference between hold that lasts 3 hours and hold that lasts the whole day. This single timing change is the reason some women's pixies look freshly styled at 6 p.m. and others look collapsed by 10 a.m. And it has nothing to do with the product brand at all. Once you get the amount and the timing right, something else changes too. You stop needing to restyle throughout the day. That constant midday fussing, running your fingers through it in the car mirror, adding more product because it feels like it's falling, all of that disappears. The result isn't just a better looking pixie. It's genuinely less time spent thinking about your hair at all, which is usually the whole reason women choose this cut in the first place. Getting the product step right is what finally delivers on that promise instead of quietly working against it. So the swap here is simple, but it changes everything. Before, too much cream applied to fully dry hair, flat by noon or overfussed all day. After, a dime of lightweight texturizing paste applied to 80% dry hair, Worked only through the top third. Same 5 minutes in your morning, completely different hair by evening. The next mistake is one you can actually see coming from across a room, and it's about a single line of hair right above your eyebrows. Part 4. The fringe and the missing layers. Let's talk about the fringe first, because a blunt straight across fringe is one of the most aging choices a woman over 60 can make with a pixie, and almost nobody tells her that in the chair. It's not that a fringe is wrong, it's that a hard geometric line cutting straight across the forehead draws attention to exactly the areas that soften with age. The brow line, the space between the brows, any asymmetry that's developed over the decades. A blunt fringe doesn't hide any of that. It frames it, like a picture frame drawing your eye directly to the thing you'd rather it skim past. The fix is a PC side-swept fringe instead of a blunt one. Ask specifically for it to be point cut rather than blunt cut, which means your stylist finishes the ends with small angled snips instead of one straight line. This softens the entire edge, and lets a few pieces fall diagonally across the forehead rather than sitting in a flat row. It sounds like a small technical difference, but the visual effect is significant. Instead of a hard frame drawing attention to every line on your forehead, you get movement that draws the eye up and across, past exactly the areas you'd rather soften. Now the second mistake in this part is layers, or more specifically, the lack of them. A pixie cut without proper layering through the crown and back tends to sit like a single uniform cap, often called helmet head by stylists, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Every strand is roughly the same length, which means there's no movement, no dimension, nothing for the light to catch as you turn your head. On women over 60, this uniform density can actually add visual weight and age rather than the sleek, modern look a pixie is supposed to deliver. It's a strange thing. A haircut that's supposed to look effortless ends up looking rigid instead. The fix is asking for internal layering through the crown and back, not just the surface. This is a phrase worth writing down before your next appointment. Internal layering means the stylist cuts varying lengths underneath the visible top layer, which creates natural lift and movement without changing the overall silhouette you already like. The result is hair that catches light differently depending on the angle, moves slightly when you turn your head, and reads as textured rather than flat. It's the difference between a haircut and a hair sculpture, and it costs nothing extra. It's purely a request you make out loud before the first cut of the appointment. Put the fringe fix and the layering fix together, and you get a genuinely different silhouette from the same haircut length. One with movement instead of rigidity, softness instead of hard lines. Women describe it as looking lighter. Even though not a single extra inch was removed, that's the layering doing its quiet work, catching light where a uniform cut just couldn't. So the swap, before a blunt straight across fringe paired with uniform, unlayered length that sits like a cap. After, a PC side-swept fringe with internal layering through the crown and back that catches light and moves. Two specific requests, one dramatically different result. And the very last mistake on this list is the one that undoes everything we've just fixed, because it happens not in the cut, but in the color chair. Part 5. The color choice that ages a pixie instantly. Here's the last mistake, and it's the one I hear about the least even though it might matter the most. Choosing a color that's too flat or too dark for a shortcut. On longer hair, a single flat color can work fine because there's enough length and movement to break it up visually. On a pixie, there's no length to hide behind. Every inch of color is on full display, close to your face, close to your skin tone. A solid, uniform dark color on short hair over 60 can read as harsh against softened, lighter skin, creating a stark contrast that ages rather than flatters. It's the opposite of what most women expect when they go dark to look younger. The flatness actually works against them. The fix is asking for soft, low-maintenance dimension rather than one flat shade. Specifically, 2 or 3 tones close to your natural base color, woven through in fine, subtle pieces rather than chunky highlights. This isn't about going lighter or darker overall. It's about breaking up that single block of color, so the light catches different tones as you move. If your hair is naturally silver or gray, ask for a gentle gloss treatment instead. A sheer, semi-transparent tint that adds shine and warmth without covering the gray entirely, which tends to look far more natural and current than a flat dye job ever does on short hair. There's a maintenance benefit here too that most women don't realize until after they've made the switch. A flat, Solid color shows regrowth fast and obviously, because there's such a stark line between your natural root and the dyed length. On short hair, that line appears within just a couple of weeks. Soft dimensional color, by contrast, blends the regrowth naturally into the existing tones, which means you can stretch your color appointments out significantly longer without anyone noticing the roots the way they would with a flat shade. It's a fix that saves you both the aging effect and a real amount of money and salon time over the course of a year. Put it together with everything from the earlier parts: the graduated length, the face-matched shape, the right product in the right amount, the softened fringe and internal layers, and the color is really the final layer of polish that ties the whole look together. Flat color undoes all of that quiet, careful work in one visit, because it's the first thing anyone notices from across a room. Dimensional color, on the other hand, makes every other fix land the way it's supposed to. So here's the final swap. Before, a single flat, dark color sitting harshly against softened skin, showing roots within 2 weeks. After, soft dimensional color in 2 or 3 close tones, or a gentle gloss over natural gray, blending regrowth and adding real dimension. 7 mistakes, 7 fixes, 1 completely different pixie cut. And now you know exactly what to say the next time you're in that chair.